Meeting of April 9th, 2020 be approved as written.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Benning. Any additions, completions, or excuse me, any additions or corrections to the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's, it passes unanimously. We now go on to the city manager's report. Mr. Patuchik.
Everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, our next regularly scheduled work session is scheduled for April 21st, 3 p.m. While it says City Hall Council Chambers, I imagine we will continue these meetings on WebEx until at least the April 30th date that was set by the governor's guidelines. Then our next regularly scheduled council meeting will be at 5 p.m. Probably also via WebEx on the 23rd of April. Work does continue here despite the slowdowns and everything. We do have a number of projects tonight. First is the Oscar Maroon Community Center Visitor Center remodel. That was budgeted for $50,000. Unfortunately, our lowest bid came in at $70,000. So I'm asking staff to relook at the specs for that with engineering, and we'll probably go back out for bids. So that will probably be a carryover item in the next fiscal year. The City Hall remodel project, which has been in the last couple of budgets, was finally awarded to the firm of A5 Design. The bid amount was just shy of $123,000 and was budgeted at $150,000. So because of the situation we're in, it's actually a good time to do that project. So we'll be proceeding with that soon. The Big O driveway project, which was tied to an annexation and development agreement with Big O, was awarded to BR Constructors in the amount of $18,000, just over, and that was budgeted at $20,000. Once that's complete, we should be able to then proceed with the annexation of Big O. The Sierra Vista Animal Care Center expansion statement of qualifications.
Chuck, you're fading in and out with the volume, so can you speak a little louder, please?
Right. The Sierra Vista Animal Care Center expansion statement of qualifications was awarded to the architecture company, and we're still negotiating the cost proposal for that. So I'll let you know that as soon as I can. And then the airport taxiway seal coat and apron rehabilitation project was just approved by FAA for the grant. CNS Engineering will be doing that particular design, and that design phase costs $95,000, $205,000 on top of that. And then construction is expected in fiscal year 2021. And that's all I have tonight, Mayor Mueller.
Thank you, Mr. Patuchik. Members of the council, do you have questions for Mr. Patuchik? We'll start with Ms. Wolf.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a question for the $50,000 that was allocated to the Oscar Maroon Center. Is that for the visitor center that we're being required to revamp per the state?
Well, originally the state was looking at it in order to revamp that, Councilmember Wolf, and I'm not sure if that requirement is even still there, and that's something I want to check on as well.
It's actually going to be my next question. Is that something that we need to spend money on at this point? Has he issued, and by he, I mean Governor Ducey, pushed this back a little bit for us?
Well, I will certainly check into that. I'm not prepared to proceed with this project at this time, given the overbid.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing no one, thank you, Mr. Patuchik. Good report. I will now move on to new business. Item number 2, Mr. Benning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I move that the City Council regular meeting minutes of March 12, 2020 be approved as written.
Second.
Who seconded it? Missed it. I got to make sure I say the name, otherwise the clerk is going to skewer me. Okay.
I think you could pick any of 3 people.
I could take it. Okay, got you. But anyway, it's moved and seconded. Any additions, completion, any additions, corrections or comments on the meetings of the regular city council meeting for the 12th of March?
No, sir.
Seeing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We now move on to item number 3. Ms. Wolf.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, I move that ordinance 2020-003, Development Code Amendments to Section 151.08.002, Public Improvement Standards General Regulations, Article 151.19, Subdivision Platting Procedures and Requirements be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. It was William, I think I heard. The second? We'll have a report from Mr. McLaughlin. Mr. McLaughlin?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, am I coming through clearly?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is the final reading on the proposed amendments to the city subdivision regulations. Our recommendations went through an extensive review process with our Planning and Zoning Commission that resulted in a unanimous vote of approval. Comments have been received during the 30-day review period that followed the hearing held by council on February 13th. This portion of code was adopted a quarter century ago and was due for an update to bring it into better alignment with our current practices. The amendments fulfill the council's direction to remove unnecessary and obsolete code provisions and provide more flexibility where the law allows. I think Jeff's memo on this item is very thorough and explained the amendments and how they improve upon the process. Our recommendations are based on our research of model codes adopted throughout the state, as well as feedback from the users of this process. Further, the changes are consistent with our guiding principles of only requiring that information that is necessary to make a competent decision on the request and scaling the approval process to match the significance of the application. So I gave you a distilled down overview at your work session on how the changes provide for a more streamlined process for small subdivisions of 10 lots or fewer in certain infill situations, making it easier to perform minor amendments to an existing plat and doing land splits, and providing for a deferral for sidewalk construction of up to 5 years. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer those. Otherwise, staff is recommending adoption of the ordinance as presented.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Discussion items. I would just say, Matt, I think you and your staff and particularly the P&Z has done a great job on this. There are not a lot of earth-shaking amendments, but I do believe that they follow the guidelines that you guys were given by the council, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. And Jeff is sitting 6 feet behind my shoulder, and he was the principal author, and I agree, he did a great job.
Yeah, you did, Jeff, and just make sure your boss keeps an eye on you, okay? Any other comments from the council? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Or did you have something?
Oh, I was just gonna.
Get ready, huh?
I'm glad to see I am glad to see amendments that streamline processes and simplify regulations whenever possible. So I'm grateful for that. Also, the work on this.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nothing heard. The motion carries. It's unanimous. Thank you very much, everybody. City Clerk, I don't see a public call to the public on our agenda. At least not the one I have. Do we have anybody that's able to call in today? Okay. We're going to work on that just so everybody knows. So now we go to comments and requests to council. Tonight we'll start with Mrs. Calhoun.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing.
Thank you, Mrs. Calhoun. We go on to Mrs. Humphrey.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hope everyone has a happy Easter, and if you want something that I personally find a lot of joy in is seeing all the work being done on the murals in town right now. We have that you guys all know about is the water tower one on Railroad and Canyon. Yeah.
Yes, that's the one.
It's beautiful. It's coming right along, and it's worth driving by if you have time. And then there's another one on the side of the florist, the pink florist, Sierra Vista Flowers.
Mhm.
Is that the correct name? Okay.
Fry, yeah.
Yeah.
There's something different and it's beautiful. So you can get out and look at that. And then I also want to stress the importance of sharing fact-based information online and with your friends and family to help stop the spread of rumors and the virus. And I think if knowing facts and having that makes it less stressful of an event for everybody. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Humphrey. Now go on to Mr. Benning.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. And if you want to look at the murals, all you got to do is check out Carolyn's page. She posts pictures. They're beautiful. Hey, I just want to tell people to hang in there. I know, like the rest of the council and you, Mr. Mayor, we're getting phone calls and emails. Tough times, rough times, but together we're going to get through this. So stay the course, hang in there, do what you're supposed to do. And also want to thank Chuck and the rest of the staff for doing an amazing job with getting information to us and sharing information. Really appreciate it. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Benning. Ms. Wolf.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to be a talkerson, and I totes apologize up front. So the first thing I want to say is I understand that some people have felt that having virtual meetings are unnecessary and that we should actually meet in person. I disagree with that, and I'm complete agreement with the mayor who has decided to do it this way. I feel 100% that the mayor has not only the city's best interest at heart, but also the council's best interest at heart. And this is really the best way for us to do this. I also know that we are still moving forward with the city's business. We're going to be doing it. We might be doing it virtually, and it might be a little painful sometimes, but we are totally going to be doing this. We're not disregarding the city in any way, and I know that there is no council person that is disregarding the city because of what's happening. What we are doing is really caring about the community and making sure, and I think setting a very good example for what the community should be doing. And I just wanted to say that I wanted to thank the mayor for making this decision because I do think it was the correct one, not only for our health, but for our city's health. Carolyn has already talked about being safe, and I love that. There is a movement right now about putting teddy bears in your windows so people can drive with their kids and count the bears. And I would very much encourage, I don't have that many teddy bears because I don't have children, but I do have a Pooh Bear, a dog toy dragon, and an alligator in the window. So we do what we can. My other would be make sure, please don't forget about the people that are living alone and give them a call and support them, at least with your voice, and make sure that you know what's happening because it can be very isolating to not see anybody. But most importantly, what I want people to know is that Sierra Vista is an amazing community and we are totally going to recover from this. And we're going to come back and we're going to be better than ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf. Those were great words. Appreciate that. Now move on to Mrs. Pacheco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I feel like we could always echo what everyone says, right? I had a couple thoughts though on this. I'm trying to look up. So during just words of encouragement for everybody out there. This is a tough time. It's really stressful. Homeschooling and working from home is really hard, and give yourself a break and give yourself time to adjust to figuring this out. You don't have to learn a new language and a new instrument in the next 3 weeks. So you don't have to do that. So don't feel like you have to. Give yourself a break. This is a stressful, hard time. And I am with our citizens and feeling that of what that's like to suddenly be homeschooling for kids and trying to also work a job and then do city stuff too. So I just want to share a quote that's been kind of being passed around, but I'll share it anyways. It's a Fred Rogers quote where he said, "When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, 'Look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping.'" And I want to share that because I've been so impressed with the people in our community that have come together who are helping. There's so many of them, and many of the helpers are on our city staff. And I have to give a big shout out. Chief Jones was on the chamber live the other evening. He did a great job sharing what the fire department is doing, and Chief Thrasher has shared given an update what he's doing and what our first responders are out there doing, and they're working so hard. And Judy, we want to always give a shout out to Judy because the information is so important to get out there. Everyone, during times of crisis, we want to know what's happening. We want to have information in front of us, and that's such an important role. So shout out to Judy and Adam who are doing a great job. So I just wanted to shout out to the helpers out there who are doing the good work of making sure people are cared for during this time, especially those in our city and our city staff who are doing that. That's all.
Thank you, Councilwoman Pacheco. Pro Tem Gray. Thank you, Ms. Gray. I'm going to take a minute here and just tell everybody I was thinking of trying to reproduce the report we gave the council on COVID-19 at the work session. So those folks and I couldn't think of a better way for us to do that. Try to reproduce that for this evening's meeting so the public could see it. But any public out there, I would ask them to go to the city website or YouTube and watch the last portion to get basically a where we are right now in the city on COVID virus. And I think the city manager, the fire chief, and police chief gave a great briefing to the council to let them know where we stand. So I would ask if people are interested that they go to that. And I'm going to close tonight unless anybody's got anything else.
Mr. Mayor,
You okay? All right.
William has something.
When did you have something?
I did. I forgot. I saw on Facebook today that Officer Tuggle received a special award from Chief about the fact that he helped save a child's life in mid-March.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
just wanted to add our congratulations to him for what he did, and also a shout out to all our PD for all the great work they're doing during this time.
Just to add on to that, Gwen, I understand that there was a fire crew involved also, but although the police officer was the first one on the scene, the fire crew also helped, and there may be additional awards coming out. So
Okay,
to let you know those happen.
it's really
Important, and they're doing a great job.
thank you.
I just want to talk about this is Holy Week, obviously Palm Sunday. It was last Sunday. Easter Sunday is coming up. Good Friday is coming up. Last night was the Seder for the first day of Passover for our Jewish friends. And I would just ask the community at this time to take a moment and pray for the community, pray for our first responders, pray for our doctors, nurses, and medical technicians, and the cleaning crews of the hospital, and also take a moment to pray for those unsung heroes, which are the clerks and the people running the stock rooms and the grocery stores, to make sure the rest of us can get the necessities we need. I would ask you to ask a prayer of thanks. I would also ask you to remember the people that are ill now, as well as the people who have passed and their families. And I would also ask, just as was mentioned earlier, if you have a neighbor, you have a friend, you know somebody who's elderly that may need a little help, please go out and show them that how good a citizen you are, what a great town Sierra Vista is, by asking them if they need help, pick up groceries, whatever it may be, and build our community and make our community stronger, because we will get through this and we will remain a great community. So with that, If there's nothing else, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.